We got half. Okay, so yesterday we started our new unit on sets. Did I actually start recording this? Did I press play? No, we are recording. Okay, we're going. Yesterday we talked about sets, and I wanted to introduce to you / remind you of 5 different notations that you need to know about. They are this with a little dash next to it. Opposite. Yeah, complement is the word. Basically, if you are this, it's everything that's not that. Okay. Another one is the symbol, this one right here, an upside down looking U. That's an and symbol. It's known as the intersection. It's where 2 things overlap. If I was looking for people in this classroom who are boys, and they're wearing yellow shirts, you are the intersection of that. I'm a boy, but I'm not wearing a yellow shirt. Does that make sense? So that is the and scenario. But I could also do the or scenario. So if I was asking for people who were boys, but also were wearing gray hoodies, well, we've got some boys, but a few of you are also wearing gray hoodies. That would be this symbol here, which is or, and it basically refers to the union. So one is called intersect, one is called union. The other symbols are the sideways looking one. That one represents the symbol like it's a subset of. So you're a smaller grouping of something else. And then the last symbol we learned about was a circle with a line through it. It's called the empty set, and that would be like a physical impossibility. Like if I asked for the grouping of kids in the classroom who are wearing red shirts today. Well, we don't have any red shirted people today, so. Okay.
Mine's gray. Mine's like a green. Well, mine's actually tatted to light blue, but looks gray. So that's sad. It's like a washed out, tired.
Okay, well, thank you. Anyways, that's the empty set. It's where nothing literally exists. So today we just want to do some more practice with what sets look like. So I want to start off with something fairly familiar. It's Venn diagrams.
Oh, no way.
Yep. Venn diagrams. So imagine that you've got a group of people, and it's known as your universal set. And so the universal set is going to be all of the seniors, whoever that happens to be. And we get to know that the number of all of these people that we're counting is 65. Remember this little notation, N bracket, refers to the fact that there are 65 of them. Pretty cool. Well, we now have some subsets. A subset is those who play volleyball. And the number of volleyballers is 23. The number of basketballers is 26. If I wanted to write this with certain notation, I could write it like this. The volleyballers are a subset of the universal set. Volleyballers belong to the class. I could even say that basketballers are a subset of the universal set. Would it be fair to say that volleyballers are a subset of basketballers? Unless every single volleyballer was also on the basketball team, that wouldn't be a fair thing to say. Does that make sense? So that one's not fair to say. So our goal today is to figure out the number of students who play both sport, who only play basketball and only play volleyball. So I'm going to start off by redoing what we did in the previous unit. We're going to do a Venn diagram. And I like to start by drawing the big box around it. And we learned this already in a way, didn't we? Where like the big box is essentially you. Everybody is in the big box. As a subset of the big box, there are some people who play basketball. So I'll just write out this one right here as basketball. And I think it'd be fair to overlap these, wouldn't it? Because maybe there's some kids who play basketball and play volleyball. And this right here in the middle would be both. There's also one more possibility. Yeah, like none. You play something else, or you just don't care about sports, right? Those for right now, what we've done already is kind of our main possibility. The only difference now is I'm just going to change the notation we use. Okay. I'm going to call this one right here, this box right here, I'm going to call it B/V. And I need to explain how that works. This one right here. This box is B/V. It means basketballers but not volleyballers. So basically what it's meaning is those are the kids who only play basketball. This box right here, I'm going to call it V/B. What it means is we want the volleyballers, but not the basketballers. So essentially what this means is only volleyballers. This middle section would get notated with this, BAV. These are the people who play basketball and play volleyball. And then for none, we would notate these guys like this. Basketballers or volleyballers prime. Let's talk to that one. Either you play basketball or you play volleyball. Well, basketball or volleyball is any one of these three circles. Prime means the opposite of that. So if you don't play basketball or you don't play volleyball, it means you're doing none of the above. So these are the fancy notations I need you to learn. B/V would mean basketball, but not volleyball. BAV would be both basketball and volleyball. V/B would mean volleyball only, so not basketball. And then the last one's the hardest one to write out. It's BUV prime, essentially meaning not someone who plays basketball or volleyball. So essentially, these are people who do nothing. Does that symbology make sense?
Yeah.
Now to solve the question, we already learned how to do this. What we know is that basketballers, let's see, what do we got here? 23 play volleyball, right? So if 23 play volleyball, where is the volleyball section? These ones right here is volleyball, along with these ones as well. Now, if you'd like to, rather than go with crazy symbols, go back to A, B, C, and D if you want. I don't have a problem with that, but I need you to know how this crazy symbols work. So could I just go with A, B, C, and D here, just to make it simple again? A is this one, B is this one, C is this one, D is this one.
So in this sense, A plus D should equal 6 and 5.
There we go, let's start with that. So A plus B plus C plus D, everybody better be 65. That's one thing we know is true. We also know that there are 65 people who play, 23 who play volleyball. Volleyball would be volleyball onlys along with boths. So B and C is, 23 is B and C. Okay, basketballers is 23. So A and B is 20. No, A and B is 26. Right. All right, there's our info. Did you say you figured one of them out?
Well, it says 31 students who do not play either.
Oh, okay. I told you the other one, didn't I? So, if 31 don't play either anything, then we just know D is, what did you say, 31?
31.
Okay. So you guys have actually done a puzzle like this before. I actually threw this into the probability section because of the fact that like it just helps because you've already done it, right? So I would say do something like this. A plus, okay, B and C is supposed to be 23, right? So I'll make that 23. That's B and C. D is supposed to be 31 for D. That's supposed to equal 65. So let's work backwards and figure out what A happens to be. So that's A plus 54 equals 65. They're 11. Alright, so let's fill that out. This guy right here is 11. Now that I know that A is 11, let's see, what else can I work with? How about this one? A and B is 26. So if A and B is supposed to be 26, but A is 11, Subtract 11 from both sides means B should be 15. Then if B is 15, if I use this one here, B plus C was supposed to be 23. So 15 plus C is 23. C would be 8. And this one was 31. So in terms of proper notation, then, just to make sure it's clear, if I say play both sports, we just erase all this stuff to make sure you have the notation right. The way you would notate playing both sports would be the number of people who play basketball and volleyball would be 15. Okay.
I keep accidentally putting an 8.
Because you put the... Yeah. People who only play volleyball, the number of people who play volleyball but not volleyball, that would have been... Sorry, basketball, not volleyball. Basketball, not volleyball would have been 11. And people who play volleyball, not basketball would have been 8. Okay. I just need you guys to be able to recognize these notations. It's symbols. So as long as you got the symbols, usually the logic is not too challenging, hopefully. It says timidly. That makes sense? Yeah. Cool. All right, let's try another example. This is just a summary of how there's the whole Venn diagram concept. But I think you guys know how to do Venn diagrams by now, right? So, this notation is the one I just showed you. A/B means A minus B. It refers to basically you're in set A, but you cannot be in set B. I was going to show you 3 possibilities. Here, if I asked you for A, not B, see how B is entirely encompassed inside A? So basically what you're doing is you're saying don't count any of these people. Count everybody who's not got this qualification. What if you asked for A, not B right here? Well, are there any people who are in B that are also in A?
No.
In this example here, A, not B, would actually just be A. People who are in A that are not in B, since there's nobody who's also in B, it's everybody who's in A anyways. How about this? I want all the students right here who are in the classroom who are also not 75 years old. That's all of us, because there weren't any of you who are 75 years old, right? Then if I asked you, I want all the students in the classroom who are not wearing a hat. Okay, well that excludes a few of you. Does that make sense? So that would be this example right here where you may have to exclude a few people right here in the middle because we can't account for them. Because you're not allowed to include the ones who are in B. So you're looking for like this remaining section instead. So it could be entirely contained. It could be not contained at all. That word's disjoint. Or it could be where they cross. So this is just a recap of the words we've learned then. This is intersect, where they overlap. This is where they're like conjoined together. Let's just try some more examples with this terminology. If A is 1 through 5 and B is 3 through 7, what's A and B? Which numbers are in both? 3, 4, and 5 are in both. What does A or B look like then? 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, 3, 4, and 5 get counted twice. Do you write them twice though?
No.
No. Don't write them twice. It just means they count for both. That's all. Okay, so this means who is in A but is not also in B? Good, 1 and 2 are, because 3, 4, and 5 are in B, so you can't count them. And then here, B not A would be 6 and 7, because 3, 4, and 5 are in the other group. Thanks. Does that make sense? So this has to be where they overlap. They have to be in both. This is just the grand total of who you've got. Add them all up. This one and this one are basically just don't count the ones that are in the other group as well. It's loud there. Okay, let's try an example using cards, because you guys love card games, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's determine if you draw a card at random from a standard deck of cards. Let's figure out the clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds. And I'm just gonna put like an N in front of it, maybe to make it more clear. How many cards are out there that are clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds?
52.
Okay. Can we do them individually? The number of clubs would be 13. The number of spades would be 13. The number of hearts would be 13. The number of diamonds would be 13. How many spades or hearts would there be then? Yeah. The number of spades or hearts, you would say there are 26. Right? Because there's 13 spades and 13 clubs. What about this one? How many spades are also hearts?
None. 0.
So the answer to this is 0. Or you might say a bracket, and inside the bracket you would literally put nothing. Because you can't have a heart that is also a spade. It's one or the other. Okay, so now we get into the more complicated things. And if you have your assignment, sometimes I'm going to ask you for crazy stuff like SUH prime. So now you got to kind of interpret what this means. SUH means how many cards out there are a spade or a heart.
26.
Okay. Well, the prime of that is how many of them are not.
26.
26, yeah. This essentially is actually asking you for how many diamonds or clubs are there. So there's 26, because there's 26 in this group, and there's 26 in this group. There's 26 that are spades and hearts, which means there's 26 that are not. Sometimes you get some really crazy things, like the number of diamonds, not clubs, or spades, not hearts, prime. Like sometimes you can do really crazy things where you have to do like, okay, you got to figure out what this is, then you got to figure out what this is, then you got to put them together, then you got to prime the thing. So sometimes you can get actually really complicated, if that makes sense. So I want to build up to that. Okay, let's try this example here. You're able to take part in all of these sports. This would be an awesome school there. So you can do badminton, basketball, cross country, curling, football, golf, etc. They've got a lot of sports available here. So what we'd like to do here is let's list them as sports that have a ball and sports that have a racket and a ball. Or sorry, a racket and a bat. So let's start by listing all the sports in group B. Which of these sports need a ball? Basketball.
Rugby. Football.
Okay, no. Football does.
Golf. You need a ball.
Golf needs a ball. Hockey doesn't use a ball.
Softball.
Lacrosse?
Yes.
Lacrosse does.
But don't they have a racket or something?
Well, let's do that second though, okay? Rugby uses a ball. Soccer.
Tennis.
Soft.
Volleyball.
Tennis. And volleyball. So those are all of the sports that fit into the ball category. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm just going to underline those in purple. Basketball, football, golf, lacrosse, rugby, soccer, softball, tennis, volleyball. So those are going to be my purple ones. Now in red, let's do the ones that involve a racket or a bat of some type. So badminton does. Curling doesn't use a bat. Golf does. So is golf in both categories? Yeah, that's fine. Hockey does. Lacrosse. Rugby? No. Skiing? You don't hit anyone with your ski poles, I guess, if you had some.
Well, I mean, you do.
Extreme. Soccer, no. Softball, yes. Tennis, yes. And I think that's it, right? So I'm going to underline these ones in red now. So that would be badminton. Golf gets underlined twice. hockey, lacrosse is twice, softball, and tennis. Okay, so let's write out some of these possibilities here then. Sorry, you're going to need a little extra room, perhaps. I didn't save enough spot here. What would be BUR? What does that refer to? This would be anything that's in both. So if I have anything underlined, I'd have to write them all out. So this is going to take a while here. This would be badminton, basketball, football, golf, hockey, lacrosse, rugby, soccer, softball, tennis, and volleyball. So that would be, if it's in either category, even if it's both, we have to count that for B or R. What about BAR? This refers to the ones that are in both categories. Golf, lacrosse, softball, and tennis. That makes sense, because those are the ones that use both a racket and a ball. So now for a more challenging one, what would BAR prime mean? Yeah, this would be everything that does not require both of them. So even if it only requires one, it goes on this list. This is going to be a pretty long list then, isn't it? Sorry, it's going to take a while to write. We're going to need badminton, basketball, cross country, curling, football. Okay, but golf does use both, so golf doesn't go on this list. Hockey. Don't include lacrosse, so include rugby, skiing, and soccer. Okay, so tennis and softball do use both, so they don't go on this list. So we need frisbee, volleyball, and wrestling. Ultimate frisbee, volleyball, and wrestling. Okay, keep in mind here, on the diploma, you won't have to write all these out. Yeah, because it's a little tedious, isn't it? But you will need to be able to recognize which of these statements are true. So they might ask you, like, which of the following things is correct. Okay, so. Okay, let's try the next one. What does B/R mean? Okay, so who used a ball but not a racket? Basketball, football, rugby, soccer, and volleyball. You guys sound really distracted over there. Does this make sense to you? Okay. Let's just finish it up then. R not B then? What would that be? Rackets, but not a ball. So badminton and hockey, I think, are the only ones that are circled there, right? Okay, for the last one. What does BUR prime refer to? Yes. Essentially, this is the none category. BUR refers to anything with a ball or a racket. But then we do the opposite of that. We're basically looking for everything else. So if there's a sport that uses nothing, we need to write that one down. So that would have been cross country and curling, skiing, frisbee and wrestling. Cross country, curling, skiing, frisbee, wrestling, right? Because those are the ones that I didn't highlight, right? This one, that one, that one, that one. Okay, now what I did here is we actually wrote out the list. If we put a little N in front of it, And then it asks you how many of them there would be. So then this one would have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So make sure you're familiar with both ways of answering the question. N asks how many. If I don't put the N in front, you actually have to list them all, which kind of could suck because it's a lot of writing. So far, so good? 3 of you are on their phones. Okay. Apparently you know what you're doing. Okay, let's try another example. Morgan surveys the students in her math class. All those students. Okay, 18 eat breakfast. 5 of the 18 who eat breakfast also eat lunch.
Healthy lunch.
Healthy lunch, yeah. And 3 students do not eat breakfast and do not eat a healthy lunch. So let's try to figure this piece out here. I would say it looks something like this. Here's your universal set, and there's 30 kids in the universal set. Good job. All right, so here's breakfast, and here is a healthy lunch. Not just a lunch, but a healthy lunch. Let's try to represent this sort of information here. If 18 eat breakfast, that means that this whole circle right here is 18 people. Does that make sense? So I could say that the number of people who eat breakfast is 18. It then says 5 of the 18 students who eat breakfast also eat healthy lunch. What does that refer to?
So that's like that whole other side.
That's the little in-between section.
What it is?
Yeah, because of the students who eat breakfast, see how these people eat breakfast? There's only 5 of them that also fit into the healthy lunch.
Oh, we don't have to find the middle for once.
No, we don't have to find the middle. I actually give you the middle. But how do I notate that, though?
Or?
It would be N of breakfast or, no, not or, and. People who eat breakfast and eat a healthy lunch is 5.
Wow.
So in a way, I already know that, let's do A, B, C, D again. If this is A, B, C, and D.
Oh, we already have D.
Actually, we already have B as well, right?
Yeah.
B is 5. The middle section is 5. We also know that A plus B was supposed to be 18. So that means we know that A is 13. So I already know what a couple of these circles are here. Okay, I need more information though. There are 3 students who do not, I think this is supposed to be eat. There are 3 who do not eat breakfast and do not eat a healthy lunch. Yeah, that's 3, right? People who don't eat breakfast and don't eat lunch, basically, they don't eat either of them. That's 3 right there.
So that's D.
So that's D. So I've been told what D is. So then the question is, how many eat a healthy lunch? That's actually not letter C, though, because the healthy lunch is going to have to be those who are letter C, but then we're going to have to add the extra 5 in the middle. Does that make sense? So we should know that A plus B plus C plus D is supposed to be the 30 kids in our class. And I know all these numbers. A is 13, B is 5, C we don't know, actually. D is 3. How much?
Minus 13.
What?
Minus 5.
How much is C?
7. No, it's not. Yeah, that's what I got.
13 plus 5.
Oh, 13 plus 5?
13 plus 5 plus C plus 3 equals 30.
9.
Oh, what?
What?
I
1, 2,
subtracted 30
3.
minus
I'm just
15
gonna
minus
add
5
it right
minus
now.
3.
Say that one more time. 30?
21. I did 30 minus 15.
Why 15?
I said
It'd be
7.
9.
Why did I get 7? That's what I got on my calculator.
I'm pretty sure it's
Don't
9.
get
I don't know why
mad
you're
at me.
subtracting
It's
15
not
though.
on my calculator.
Yeah, but why 15? Where'd the 15 come from?
Oh,
This
I
is
don't know.
this is a 13. Okay.
What a weirdo.
Sheesh. Too much time on her
Jeez,
phone.
so mad at me.
I told you it's 9.
You've been here for like 2 minutes already. Okay. So long story short though, we're not done yet though. C is 9. If we want those who eat lunch, that's going to be 15 plus 9 will be 14 kids eat lunch. So you can say the number of kids who eat the healthy lunch is 14. Because 9 of them just eat lunch, and then 5 more eat lunch and breakfast. Right, so how many eat a healthy lunch? 14. So don't forget to take the 9 and add it back to the 5.
Is that it?
That's it. So in set notation, it would look like this, though. The number who eat healthy lunch would be 14. Okay, am I done?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Most of this really is just can you notate things. So there's actually 6 symbols now you need to know. There's the 5 on your data sheet, plus you should know how to do the backwards slash, which means this but not the other one. Okay. One last thought before you guys kind of pack up. Do you have your assignments nearby? I want to show you some of the questions now, because you can answer most of them. For example, this is the sort of question I want you guys to be able to eventually do. If I ask you N S/B, this means find the people who are in S, sports, but who are not in band. If I ask you for N S U C, that means find people who are in school sports or in a club. So most of what we have here is actually like a notation kind of issue. The first couple of questions are similar. We're going to find KUS prime or NKUS prime. So you guys have an hour. I know it's the long weekend here, but maybe try doing questions like 1 and 2 at the very least, and then call it a weekend. So, all right, that's my lesson.